Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our introductory video at Reed's Pharmacy. This one's titled Hormones 101, where we dive into the hormones and talk a little bit about them. First and foremost, I want to introduce myself. My name is Tareen Stewart, and this is my co-partner, Eric Stewart. We are not related, even though we should be. A little bit about myself. I've been in the healthcare world for, 15, 20 years. Started out as a nurse for quite a few years, about 10 years, and have since gone into pharmacy for the last 7 to 8 years. I really enjoy the body, and one thing I always enjoyed as a nurse was the pharmacology, the medicines, how they work in our body, and how basically those can be used as a tool to improve our health and our overall wellness. So a little bit about Eric here. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Trine. So I've been a pharmacist since 2011. I've been at Reed's Pharmacy ever since then. And right from the beginning, I jumped into hormone replacement therapy. I jumped into seminars and trying to learn extra things that we didn't learn in pharmacy school. So we've been compounding ever since then here in the pharmacy. And year after year, we go to trainings and symposiums to dive deep into the body, health, hormone balance, and compounding. So we pride ourselves on knowing a lot about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and we're here to help you guys understand it as well.
Maybe let's start by the main question. What is a hormone?
That's a good question. What is a hormone? A hormone is a chemical messenger, and it's produced in a couple areas of the body. So we got to think ovaries, testes, pancreas,
Adrenal glands,
and thyroid, of course. So what happens is these hormones travel through our bloodstream and go to various parts of the body, signaling and telling the body what to do. So they're extremely important.
Now let's talk a little bit about that. Over time, like anything, the volume or the quality or the messaging system can go downhill, and that happens as we age. So naturally as we age and we go through things like menopause and other things, those hormone levels can decrease or change. Even stress, which we all deal with every day, can really change the value and the amount of our hormones in our body. So there are two different types of hormones that we can use to get our levels back to normal. Commercially, there's pharmaceutical companies that have produced synthetic or man-made hormones to replace those levels. They come with extra side effects because they are man-made, or the other option is bioidentical hormone, which is different in the fact that it's actually the exact same molecule. It's going to be the original form which your body is used to, absorbs better, utilizes better, and has less side effects. So that's just a brief summary on the difference between synthetic and bioidentical hormones.
A couple things to look at are, what do these hormones do in our body? And so they regulate so many things. And so we think energy expenditure, libido, cognitive function, muscle tissue. They play such a vital role in sleep and energy, all of these things. And so we got to look at our system. And if everything's running smoothly, then we feel good and our hormones are in balance. But if something gets off, we start to notice it. And so that's when we want to say, hey, could it be our hormones? Is there something we need to look at? That's what we're here to help you explore and figure out.
I like the analogy of a car. You have different substances in the car to make it run. You have oil, you have transmission fluid, you have gasoline, you have antifreeze, you have all these different liquids essentially that are helping the car run the way it should. If there's an imbalance, too much oil, not enough transmission fluid, we know that the effects of that, and that's not a good running car anymore. Even things like the engine and how high it idles is similar to our thyroid and how it controls the regulation of our body's metabolism and different temperatures. Like Eric was saying, that balance is crucial to having a good running machine, our bodies, running at optimal level to do what it's intended to do. So like a car, in balance, running smooth, our bodies, we want to keep that longevity of it running smooth as well as we age. Now we know that there will be an imbalance, and that's why we're here to help that. What would someone do if they were in an unbalanced state, feeling some of these things we talked about? How would they get the help from a physical mechanic?
That's a good question. So we're thinking, hey, I'm starting to feel fatigue, I'm starting to feel like I just don't have the energy, or I'm getting more anxious. All these symptoms that can come up in life So what do we do about that? And so one of the first things to do is let's get those hormones checked. And there's a number of ways to do that. You can do a blood test. You can do a saliva test. That's something we can help you with at the pharmacy. Sometimes I'll even look at urine metabolites to analyze, hey, what's happening with the hormones in the body? So that's probably the first step. So sometimes we think, hey, maybe I just need to get on Prozac, or maybe I just need to change my diet. And there's little things like that we can look at, but ahead of all that, we should look at hormones, because we need to get back in our system the hormones that we've always had and regulated the way they've always been, so we can feel our best.
Thank you. And so,
You're welcome.
that's why we're here. Like a mechanic, to look at a car, you're going to go to the right doctor to look at the hormone lab values you just received and did, and also how you're presenting, right? There's two things. It's how does the patient present, and what are the lab values? Are they matching up? And a good doctor would be able to notice those things and be able to correct those in conjunction, helping with us in collaborating on what's the best route of maybe administration of the medicine, the right concentration, and things like that. Actually, there are a few different ways they can get the levels back up in the body. You want to talk about a few of those routes?
Absolutely. So that's the process. Once we see, hey, maybe there's a hormone level that is off, and we need to address it and fix it so you can feel better. And so that's where you come to the compounding pharmacy. And that's what we do, and that's what Trine mentioned before, is we specialize in bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So we don't deal with synthetics. We know what's going to be best for the body, and that's what we make here in the pharmacy. And the route plays a huge role, as Trine mentioned. Some things we're not going to take orally because they're not safe and they show negative side effects. So even hormones taken in the wrong way can be bad. And so that's where the education becomes super important. So options that we have here in the pharmacy are compounded topical creams. Sometimes we'll do troches, compounded capsules.
Hold on just a second. What is a troche?
That's a
It's
good
a
question.
difficult word for some.
So a troche would be something dissolvable that you put under the tongue. It absorbs more systemically through the bloodstream than going through the gastrointestinal tract. And then also we do like vaginal creams, vaginal suppositories. Those are other options. So there's a lot of different options for hormone replacement therapy, but the key is getting the right formula and then knowing how to adjust the dose over time. But it's not a super quick fix. How long typically, Trine, does it take to get an idea of how your hormones are regulated and when you'll notice that difference?
Yeah, that's a good question. Just sometimes it depends on how long have they been out of balance. How long have these symptoms been going on before getting treatment? So that sometimes is an issue. Sometimes age and how quick the body can restore back to the normal balance is also important. But typically we're looking for a couple months of continued treatment and then follow-up lab work before we really see a difference. Now, certain hormones, like the thyroid, that's really a potent hormone that changes our temperature and metabolism, we might feel a little bit sooner on the benefits. Things like testosterone and progesterone might take a little bit more on that delayed process, but ultimately our goal is to get that back in alignment and balanced the way the body's supposed to. And I think some people think, oh, this is just the natural aging process, I don't need to go get help, or I don't think maybe it's safe. So let me ask about that. What are your thoughts on the safety and efficacy of compounds and the bioidentical hormones?
That's a really good question. And it's been a question that's been explored a ton over the last 10 years. And so probably in the early 2000s, we saw early studies and people got scared. They said, hey, we don't want to be on hormones because of these erroneous studies on hormones that were synthetic. But now over time, we've seen so many good studies showing, hey, it's actually safer to put your body back in balance and get hormones to the levels that they need to be. So if we want to avoid certain risks, like cancer risks, cardiovascular disease, things that we know can come with time, a lot of those diseases become because our hormones are out of balance. So if we can get those hormones back in balance, we can mitigate a lot of these risks. Plus, we're going to feel so much better. As we age, we don't have to accept that we're going to feel crummy, that we're going to feel tired, that we're going to feel worn out, that we're not going to look as good as we did. With aging, we can age gracefully, we can age well, we can feel good, we can have energy. There's all these things. So don't accept, hey, it's just part of life, it's just aging. There's things that we can do. Getting our hormones in balance is definitely one of the prime things we can do. There's other things that we're happy to talk about as well, the hormones play such a huge role in this.
Yeah. And you think about when you were in your healthiest prime, mid-20s, early 30s maybe, your hormone levels typically are right spot on. Your body's ready to do things like have babies, run a
Did
marathon.
you run a few marathons?
Actually, I ran after kids, which is similar. Quite a few kids that I chased. And so as we age, those levels get a little bit off like we talked about. But those receptors in our body are still ready to receive the hormones that we talked about, those neurotransmitters, and they'll help talk and communicate so we stay in prime shape even in our 50s, 60s, and we prevent things like foggy memory, bone loss, just the common things we see that people are struggling with.
That's why we're here. We're here to help you guys understand hormones, ask us questions. We want to help you feel good, maximize your energy, be able to get rid of some of the symptoms and things that you see catching up to you as time goes on. Don't accept it. You don't have to. We're here to help. Reach out to us, ask us any questions about hormones or compounding.
We just wanted to thank you all for joining us on our Hormone 101 introductory series on Reed's Pharmacy and what we offer here. Let's get your life back in balance. Let's take control of our life. And if you need any help, reach out. We're here for, not only here locally for individuals, but anywhere can reach out and get in contact with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.